It's awesome that we have channel 986 here, Charter PEG TV. They will be recording this entire meeting starting about a minute ago, and they are going to replay it on channel 986 and on the YouTube channel that Laddie Chapman has. This meeting's YouTube video will be posted on the 511 website for this project. So all anybody has to do is log on to the 511 project website, click Laddie's YouTube link, and this entire video will play. So I just want to make sure everybody knows we're being recorded here. I think it's wonderful for everybody else who wants to see it and maybe couldn't attend. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So I'd like to thank everybody for attending today's what we call a construction information meeting for the Highway 42 resurfacing project from the mid-junction with 57, which is down by the Mill Supper Club, all the way up to Rainbow Ridge Court, which is just south of the village of Egg Harbor. My name is Paul Brauer. I'm the Wisconsin Department of Transportation Project Manager for State Highway Projects in Door and Kewaunee counties. The main purpose of this meeting primarily is to give Northeast Asphalt, who's a prime contractor, an opportunity to present his schedule of operations and his traffic staging. And then, of course, after we get through the presentation, we'll open it up for some questions. We'll do a Q&A session. But we do ask that you hold your questions off until the end of the presentation so we ensure that you get all the information first. Before I pass it over to Northeast Asphalt to go through their schedule, I just want to go through a few things. We'll go through some introductions, brief project description, and a few housekeeping items. So as far as introductions is the rest of the project team, we got Jeff Reesman. He's with Northeast Asphalt, who's a prime contractor. Keith Process, he's with Mead and Hunt. He's a consultant that Wisconsin Department of Transportation hired. He's going to be our project field engineer. He'll be responsible for the day-to-day construction oversight of the contract and the administration. And his assistant Dan Zakut is here as well. Dan Segerstrom, he's the Wisconsin Department of Transportation supervisor for Door, Kewaunee, and Calumet counties. You already met Mark Kantola. He's our communications manager for WSDOT Northeast region. He's the one that helps manage our public outreach, deals with the media and that sort of thing. I think that handles most of the people on the team that were here. As far as the project work, this project is basically a mill and resurface job is what we call it. The biggest item is going to be milling about 4 inches of the existing asphaltic pavement, repaving another 4 inches back down of blacktop or what we call a hot mix asphalt pavement. We're going to be replacing a handful of culverts throughout the job. Another key area of work is going to be at the Monument Point Road intersection where we're going to add northbound and southbound right turn lanes there due to some maintenance and some safety concerns at that intersection. And then to wrap up the project towards the end, we're going to be reinstalling the rumble strips, freshening up the gravel on the shoulders, and of course we're going to put fresh pavement markings out there. The traffic control for this project is going to be closed and detoured to traffic. The detour is going to follow Highway 57 up to then to County V at Jacksonport, and then turns back north on County A, and then takes double E back to 42 again. Understand that the closed portion of Highway 42, anybody that's got an access in that location will still have their full access at all times during construction. As far as housekeeping items that I mentioned, if you haven't already, we please ask that you put your name and phone number. If you have an email address, throw that on here. We got some sign-in sheets up front, and there's also a couple of handouts. We got a copy of the website. In red on the top, I put the exact website link that you can type in, so if you want to visit it on your computers, you can do that. And then also I have a map of the detour route and also the project limits there, just for quick reference. I just want to mention too that, you know, on there, the 511 website, which is 511wi.gov, there's a lot of good information out there regarding not only this project, other projects in the Northeast region. I guess with that, I'll pass it over to Jeff and he can go through his operations and his traffic management.
Right, as Paul said, I'm Jeff Reesman. I'm a project manager for Northeast Asphalt. I do DOT work. If some of you have dealt with us locally here, either dealt with Tom Ash or now Cameron Yinda up there, I primarily handle DOT work and have been up here since 2001. I basically paved all the way around the circle and up to the Northport twice. So this is my third time on this piece. So we're going to start work. You'll start seeing work out there on April 3rd. There'll be some traffic control laid out the week before. There'll be some staking guys out there. But the 3rd is when I'll have saw guys out there. We're going to be sawing for pipe patches and that type of thing. And then the pipe work is going to start on the 4th, and that'll continue for approximately 3 weeks, give or take. We'll start on the south end, keep working pipes north up to the end of the project. The last of the pipes is at just north of the Monument Road intersection as part of that reconstruct. So, you know, as we move north, we have to pave it in. Those will get paved in, and that pipe work will be the first couple of weeks. Milling and paving is going to start the end of the week of the 15th. I have to do what's called a test strip. We got to do a short section. We do some QC testing and do some verifications, and we agree with the DOT that our mix is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And then starting the 22nd, we're going to head north. This job is what we call mill and fill. So I can't leave a milled surface overnight. What's going to happen is there's going to be a train. There's going to be 2 mills. Big, most of you have probably seen our mills. Big conveyor up front into the trucks. We mill out 4 inches, and then we put 2 inches of the lower course back on the same day, and then we come back and we'll put the finished course on when that's complete. We can get about 2 miles a day doing that, but it is going to be busy. So if you guys are all local, use your phones, get around town roads where you can. Cannot have trucks on there. They have to follow detours. That's what the detours are set up for. But if it's a local truck, get around the way you can. If you're on 42, try to get off and get around. It's going to be faster. It's going to be safer for my guys, safer for you, and probably a little quicker any given day. Because by the time the afternoon rolls around, by the time we get stretched out, we'll be pretty much at 1.5 mile closure by the time it starts out. So that's going to be, there's going to be some time involved there. We will flag it. Everything's under flag traffic, so you can get through, but it's going to be a little inconvenient for a little bit. I'll put a copy of my schedule out there. This is what I have to supply the DOT, okay? The red is what they can call a controlling item. That's the item of work that controls the schedule for that day or that given amount of time. This is a working day contract, so I have 50 working days to get this done. If I can't work on my controlling item, like paving is the majority of this, so I can't pave because it's raining, then that day doesn't count towards the contract. And it's specified how that all works out in the specs. But if you want to take a look at this, it gives dates. It's, there's 5 days on a week. It's just a calendar. This is just basically what I supply. This is the outlook if things work perfect. Weather we can't control, things break down, that type of things. Some things go a little faster than we guess. Sometimes it goes a little worse. But ideally, we'll be out of here by the week of the 17th of June or the week after. I mean, working days work out to about the 17th of June. So if we have any extra rain days or that type of thing, that could be delayed yet. I have to be off the road by the 28th of June, and we can't be up here during the summer. I really don't want to come back here in the fall. We paved this the last time during the fall, and as you all know, it gets pretty busy on the weekends in the fall. I just don't like being up here in the fall. This is the time of year to do this, so hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate here in April so we can get going, get out of everybody's way. We can get our work done. Well, we don't have a whole lot of excess people up here. Don't bother anybody. Keep the bother to a minimum. Keep my guys safe. Get the heck out. So that's really all I have. Driveways, I'm not interested in doing driveways. If you got a bigger driveway, we're really not set up to do driveways. We're commercial, municipal, DOT type work. We do a few driveways now and again. But this crew will not be able to do driveways. We don't have the time to do it. And once you see all the equipment, you understand why we won't have driveways. If you really want a price from us, I'll get you Cameron's information and he can take a look at it. But driveways, unless there's something on the plan that we have to do to your driveway because we're changing some grades or something like that, which is very minimal on this job, there won't be anything done with your driveways. That's really all I have.
I guess with that, we can open it up to any questions that anybody has. Jeff, you might want to stay standing in case there's something directed towards you. Sure, kind of red.
Rumble strips,
Yeah,
are they on the side of the road or also in the middle?
they're going to be on both, I believe, right, Keith? I think this job has got them on both.
The reason I'm asking, we live at 4380 Highway 42, which is right next to the highway. That's a passing lane, and if you had your window open when semis are going across those rumble strips in the middle of the road, my request is that in a short distance in front of housing, that those rumble strips would be eliminated directly in front of the house.
That's a common request, but unfortunately, in rural areas where we call for them, the decision's been made for the state that there is a good safety benefit and we're gonna put them in. Now, if this was like in a slower speed, I think it's less than like 45 miles an hour. Less than 50. Or in like community areas where the speeds are slower, we generally don't put them in. But in the areas where it's a 2-lane, 55-mile-an-hour highway, typical, we're gonna put them in because it has proven to save lives. It keeps people, if they doze off and veer off the road, it keeps them in the lane, it wakes them up. So I appreciate, we can take a look at it, but in all likelihood, the thing is, if we start not putting them in certain locations, and nobody wants them in front of their property, and then pretty soon we're defeating the purpose of.
We've lived at that residence for a long, long time.
What's that?
We've lived at that residence for a long, long time. There's never been an accident in front of the
Yeah, and it can happen randomly.
Maybe a question is that they can lower the rumble strips in that area too. If you, and that's a passing lane, if you lived with semi going across those at all hours of the night in the summer, you can't sleep. It's a special request and I'd like you to consider it.
Yeah, we'll take it, we'll just take a look. Can you say the address again?
4380 Highway 42, right next to the University Extension Farm.
If it happens to be adjacent to a gap or something, that would, I don't know, we'll take a look at it. But no, thank you for.
4380?
Pardon? 4380. Right north of the experiment station.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
Yes.
I actually have several questions. My husband and I know there are several of us here that are business owners on this. My first question is, we own St. Point Gardens, okay? We will be receiving trucks well into May. What should we tell them? And my second question, is this flagging all the way from, because my understanding, if you're replacing culverts and stuff, is it gonna be closed for certain periods? Are you moving the detour as you move north?
Okay, yeah, so should I just start with that one right away?
Thank you.
Yeah, right now, as I'm sure you're all aware, there is a detour currently in place for the Village of Egg Harbors project that starts at I. So when this project starts, we're going to move the south end of that detour all the way down to the junction. That detour, as soon as Jeff starts his work, that detour is going to go in place. Now, like I said, if you have an access on 42 in that stretch, we still got to provide you that ability to get access for your deliveries and all that. They'll still have that same capability. And Jeff, I don't know, maybe you can speak to, do we give them a heads up or whatever of when we're going to be driving through those or paving through those areas?
The weekly meetings will update where we're at. The weekly meetings will update where we're at, I guess, where we're at. My suggestion is, as long as the road's not posted, get them on the county highways, because those are, and just get them on and off where they can quick enough, if P's not, where they can go across on P, or whether it's I or whatever, wherever you're located at, get them off and on that. It's just gonna save them time and it's better safer for my guys.
That makes complete sense. Like,
So-
while you're doing the mill
Right.
to say I. leave
Right,
it
I mean,
alone.
that's,
Yeah,
just
I.
keep them
But
up.
will you move the detour then once
The
you?
detours stay up, my,
Well, I mean,
my
the
flagging stations move as we
Okay.
go.
So then, once you guys get closer to I or whatever, then we can let them through completely? Because like from I to Egg Harbor, there's no county road that they can access.
Right, so then they'll have to come through our, at that point, really, the only access is direct access.
I mean,
We have the
I
right,
mean,
we have to give you the right to do that, so if we're south of I, yeah, I guess that's the way, and if there's no county road, because coming from the north isn't gonna help either, because I'm doing our job north, and I really need Vinton to get done in Egg Harbor, and the people in the village, I'm sure, would really want them to get done, so, so that's, if I'm south of I, yeah, it's probably gonna be the best way, unless you can speak something.
So
Because-
should we be telling drivers if they're questioned that they should just name the location?
Right, name the location, and, yeah, that's gonna be the best way, because it's a 12-mile project, it's
That's fine.
gonna be moving, that type of thing, and like you said, if you're right, thinking, I mean, like I said, I've been here long enough, I can't think of any good way between I and Egg Harbor that they can get around without going to T and getting in Egg Harbor's mess, so, yeah, then they have the right to deliver to your, so, but again, if they're coming south, they might wanna help us out, help themselves out by going around at that point, so if we're south of that, so.
I don't know if she had more questions, we can take a next one.
No, I'm
Okay.
I'm fairly good, I'm sure you guys.
Right
have
next to you.
some
Can
mine,
you
so.
tell me about the signage that'll be posted? Will it say like no access to Egg Harbor, Carlville, like we had when we were?
No,
Okay.
yeah, I think that sign's already been removed by the village.
That one has, but I didn't know
Yeah.
if you were planning on putting some.
I'm not aware that was put back in, so what if it is, we won't put that one up there.
And then once you get past I, will the detour come down at the split? So is the other ones already in place?
Probably not, just because we're gonna be moving, at the end, the processes they move faster. Okay, when we do rumble strips, when we do pavement marking, we do that type of thing, they'll cover miles in a day. I mean, they'll cover, I can rumble strip 10 miles in a day, okay, on one lane. So, I mean, we're gonna be moving, so I need to keep traffic off there until we open the road up, so I really can't, I mean,
I
and
think
the
what
DOT is.
what you're explaining is when they mow in, not only will they do some south of I, they're gonna be working north of I, so they leave the whole detour up at one time. They're gonna come and do the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, what'll happen towards the end is, we'll be paving and we'll be getting done and that type of thing, and it'll be like, well, they haven't been down here for a week. Well, then, when everything's done, then we start and we do some of the longer line stuff that'll move. So putting detours up and down, that doesn't work. It just, the DOT doesn't like it, we don't like it, because it just confuses people at that time.
What about Memorial Day weekend and the Juneteenth holiday? Will they come down on Friday? Will they come down Friday night?
They'll come down, well, they have to be down by noon Friday. I gotta have traffic open by noon Friday on Memorial Day, and the Tuesday before the Juneteenth, I have to have it down. So that, I mean, basically, very minimal or no work is gonna happen on those Fridays, just because.
And then I have one more question. I know that this project is just to Rainbow Ridge, but once you go from Rainbow Ridge to Bluff, will it follow the detour that we have now?
Yeah, we have another project, and I don't wanna get too far into the weeds on the other project, but regarding that question, that project, we have another resurface that butts right up against this one to the north up to,
Fish Creek.
Bluff Lane or whatever.
Yes.
That one doesn't require us, it's not in that contract for that job to be under detour. However, the village's detour will still be underway, and we're just gonna be within that detour. When that detour for the village and or this project is done, they'll just be under a regular flagging operation under traffic.
Is it correct though that the village has to be done by the end of June?
They have to be to a certain stage
Yeah, there's
to
certain
open the
work.
road, and honestly, I'm gonna work that job concurrently. It's gonna start just a hair later, because it isn't as big, but I'm gonna take advantage of the road closure, because it's the same idea, right? So,
Right.
And the culvert work you're doing, does that mean you have to close the road? Like, what does that
we
exactly?
flag it, they do it in halves and they flag it.
Yeah,
Okay.
one side at a time, just like the paving. Yeah, gentleman in the back.
Yeah, so my name's Eric Gale, I own Anchor Roots, Vineyard and Winery off of Willow Road, so off of 42 as well. Obviously, a 42 shutdown is a big concern to us. That limits our traffic flow. We rely on tourists being able to make it up here. They struggle with detours. They're not used to the back roads, and kind of like we are as locals. That's a huge challenge for them. When it comes to the general, let's say, flow of this project, if it's just a mill and resurface situation, are you working one lane at a time? How is that going to work as far as that traffic moving on? I realize that the detour is supposed to shut down entirely on 42. For local traffic, for us moving through, you know, one side at a time, how's that working?
Well, I guess one question I have for you is your access on 42 or
No,
is it
access
on?
is off of 42. But we have
It's
no
off of 42, it's,
Correct.
okay. Technically, since that road is closed, if you're gonna be communicating with your business, you know, your clientele, you should be telling them to take an alternate route. And now that's just the way the rule and the law works. If your business was on, if your access was there, then by rights, they could, you know, being that it's closed and open to local traffic, they could travel up there, but and Mark's well aware of this, and he could probably talk more to it, but on our 511 website, we do have a temporary business signing application. I know we had 1 or 2 applicants already that we got that approved for. You know, during that period, if you feel that you have concerns about getting people to and from, you can get that temporary signing application and you can route them from the detour wherever you think is appropriate. You gotta get, we review and approve it here in our office for any signs on the state system. If you have additional signs on the county system, it also has to be signed by the Sheboygan County Highway Department, and likewise the town if there's
Door
someone.
County.
Or-
Sheboygan is-
That was too many years ago, Jeff. Door County, or let's say if it's on a town road, then either the town of Egg Harbor or town of Sevastopol would also have to sign it, but does that help answer
It
your?
does, yeah, but my additional follow-up for that is if we, as a business, apply for and receive a permit such as that, we're responsible for the cost of the signage,
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Who's responsible for, let's say, the placement, those kinds of things? Are we allowed to do
You'd be responsible for that as well.
Perfect.
I've seen it done both ways. Sometimes the actual business owner takes care of it. Sometimes I hire a signing contractor. The signing contractors are more familiar with how to get these installed. And then if you get a permit approved, then we have you work with our field engineer, Keith, to make sure that it's located in a safe location at the intersection so it's not shielding vision or something like that. But
Real quick on the temporary signage, we do have a very robust website called In This Together. It's a business resource website. It has promotional samples, everything you can imagine to help you. You can actually go and steal copy from this website on a brochure or an ad or a letter to your customers and use it, okay? But one note on the temporary signage, we have found there's a lot more advantages when you work with other businesses and get one sign and maybe put 6 businesses on one sign. I don't know your location and what's around you, but I do encourage you to work with other businesses on temporary signage. It is more visible when you do, and it is easier.
yeah, especially if your business is next to a group of businesses, that works the best.
My follow-up to that was, what about the general, let's say, flow of this work? Are you working on one lane at a time, or are you working on both lanes at the same time?
Well, the pipes are gonna just go south to north, so crosses, you know, as they do crossings. When I start milling, I'm gonna start on the south end. Ideally, what I like to do is, I gotta put 2 lifts on here, right? So, what we'll do is, go 2 days, set back and go 2 days. So we can go at about 2 miles in a day when we're doing the mill and fill process approximately. So 4 miles, set back 4 miles, keep on hop skipping that way. I'm probably gonna get to the intersection by Parv's gas station, before it's complete, and then I'll have to set back and redo the intersection. That'll be a little, you know, kind of a process, because they're reconstructing, you know, we're doing a fairly decent reconstruct with the traffic lanes there, with the turn lanes. But, and then when we get the lower course done, we'll set back on this end, and 2 days, set back 2 days.
One side at a
One side of the
time?
road at a time, yeah. We go all day in one lane. All day in one lane. So we'll go 2 days, one lane, 2 days, one lane, set back, yes.
What's the name of your winery again?
Anchored Roots, Vineyard and Winery.
Anchored
Roots.
Roots. Okay, now it's on television, so everybody will hear.
Very good.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes,
Can you tell me if the post office is gonna be notified?
Yeah, Keith and I work with the post office to try to let people know and try to work on
And
this.
then, are there any mailboxes that are gonna be removed, and if they are, do you replace those, or are we responsible for doing that ourselves?
Should not be if you're far enough off. You gotta, so when you go home tonight, look at your mailbox. I need, look at the edge of the pavement, and we need about 3 feet from the edge of the pavement. So if you're hanging over the pavement, it is your responsibility to move it and your responsibility to put it back.
Yes, in the back.
I got a question on blacktop driveways. You said you're not gonna come in and turn the right of way and blacktop them, you're just gonna raise the side plate and drop out blacktop?
We'll match the driveways how best we can based on the roadway, but there's no driveway quantity in this plan, so.
Well, it's a state right of way.
Yeah, state right away, but it's still, individual driveways are the responsibility of the property owner. Just like if you want to get a new driveway in the state system, you got to apply, get an application, and the cost to install that driveway is on the property owner. It's no different. Now, if we were doing say this was a reconstruct project, on projects where we entirely reconstruct the whole roadway right away to right away, and you've got a driveway there and it's on us because we took it out, well, then we put it back in. But on a resurfaced job like this, no, it's the property owner's response. Now, as far as paving limits, I think we got some butt joints, like as we pave through on the edge of shoulder, we usually have, a few feet where we got to blend in and feather that new pavement in to make sure it blends in nice. But other than that, we're not going down driveways.
Yes, ma'am.
There was a hand up, I thought.
It's one lady in front here.
Yeah.
Here? I live at 4163 State Highway 42 North. It's the first place on the left past the stop and go lights. We are having an auction on June 1st. And I am concerned if everything will be okay on that date, for that traffic with the auction.
The first is the
It's
Tuesday.
a Saturday.
The Saturday of the weekend after Memorial Day. Saturdays, right now, I can't work Saturdays, so, and we generally work 5 days a week. I don't have to be off by noon up till Memorial Day, that's why we're starting early to take advantage of this to get as done as we can. I shouldn't be on the road on that Saturday, so.
Will everything be done on our end by that time?
Probably not.
Oh,
But you're technically south of the project limits. You're within,
No,
pardon?
you're within the area that we did last year,
no,
correct?
No.
she's just north.
Just
I'm
north of
just
it.
Yeah,
north
just
of
north of the
Just
junction on the west side of the highway.
It's just north of what we did last year, Keith.
Yeah.
You are working days though. Are you
We are working
working
days.
nights also?
No,
Okay.
no, and the road is closed, it's not like it was last year. Last year, we had to close the road off because they were doing that base patching and they were putting holes in the road
Right.
like this. We're not, other than the pipes, which we can control by halves, that's not gonna happen, so.
So it should be okay for,
People have the right to get to your driveway. I would hope that I'd be pretty close to being done paved in there, but I don't see the project being complete by that time, there's no way, so.
When do you think you'll be at Parks?
Excuse me?
When do you think you guys will be up to Parks?
Up
I'm
to-
just trying to guess when you're gonna be in front of the
Oh, Monument,
Oh,
end of April-ish.
Killing me. Well, and I only ask because we own Sunny Point Gardens.
Yeah.
And our busiest, like, I'm talking 60+% of our business for the entire year is in May, like April, in May.
Yeah.
So, if there's any way you cannot be in front of my place in May, I would love it.
During the week, we're gonna be moving, once we get the intersection constructed, then it's more of a moving operation. And once I get the milling and the lower course down, then it's just my
Well, I
crew.
know that. I mean, you guys usually do a great job. We've been through this before, you
Yeah.
know? It's just
So,
not
Have
in
you
May.
have you gone to our business resource page and looked at some of the collateral on there for outreach to your customers?
I'm not worried about communicating with the customers. I'm just worried about, like,
Access.
There's a lot more
I've got
on
two
that
driveways,
business.
access points and just, people just being, I'm fully confident that we can, through advertising, Facebook, website, all that stuff, communicate to the customers and let them know how to get to us, because people will deal with it. I mean, construction is a reality of everybody's life if they go anywhere at some point in time.
Yeah.
It's just minimizing how it is when we're the busiest, because if I'm allowed access, I'm gonna be asking a lot of people to be in your hair at a time, you know, that you don't want them in your hair.
Right. So,
The business resource page, I'm stunned at how creative some businesses are with specials tied to construction, neat advertisements that relate to construction. Some of the businesses went so far beyond the creative scale in the past on projects. I really encourage you to take a look and use some of their resources.
100% agree, but I can't change the weather, sir, so if the.
no,
I can't get people
he-
to plant tomatoes earlier because he's gonna be in front of my place.
Right.
Just, it
The-
won't happen.
but unfortunately,
But I'm not complaining, I'm just trying to minimize.
well,
you know,
first, if you can
yeah.
find my hair from 10 years ago, you'd be great, okay? Secondly, yeah, I understand your situation, but you also understand the whole Door County situation, right? So at some point, we have to do this. And we'll make it, I mean, if you got a card, please give me your card so Keith and I can be in contact. It's a moving operation, so am I gonna inconvenience you? Yep, I'm gonna inconvenience you. That's gonna happen.
I'm
So-
not complaining, I'm just trying to like.
No,
describe the idea.
but if we can work around each other, that would be great, because I don't need you, I don't need anybody mad at me, I get enough people mad at me, I just don't, okay? So if we work around each other, help you out, I do what I can. But like you said, when you see the train, when we first start out, when we're doing the lower course, it's gonna be a train. There's gonna be 40-plus trucks, 2 big mills, I mean, there's gonna be 15 people out there, plus Keith's staff taking tests.
Well, I watched you last time, it's quite fascinating.
So, yeah, it's quite the deal. At least we can move a little bit during the day, because it's a lot better on my guys, and we're a lot more productive during the day than we are at night. It just is.
Door County is unique in that, you know, the tourism up here, we have to avoid our peak construction months. So we gotta squeeze everything in the spring and the fall, and unfortunately, those aren't even at the best times either. It just, it's a
And
busy
you
place up
you
there.
all can tell me better than most, but I know it wasn't that way when I first started. The fall wasn't as big of a deal, but I know somewhere 2010 or the weekends up here in the fall are just crazy. So,
Yes,
Sounds to me like the weekends, there will be obviously no work or construction. Will the highway be open to guests and residents at that time on the weekends?
after the Memorial Day week, or starting at Memorial Day weekend, the detour has to come down every week. Again, taking it up and down it's not real great for traffic purposes. People do get confused. So it'll be up until, when we start putting it up, it'll be up until the Memorial Day weekend, and then it has to go up and down, and which is actually what's happening.
yeah, I think if you're not working,
Yeah.
if you're not working or proposing to work on the weekends in the month of June, other than that June.
Well, I can't work.
Juneteenth is big- Yeah.
I can't work during the
You can
weekends.
anyhow, okay, so.
So it's gotta become,
So
they
it'll
gotta
be
come down
down.
by noon. So basically, Friday mornings in June, you're gonna be seeing traffic control guys moving signs and barrels, so, yes, sir.
Even though it'll say detour, the road will be open to,
The beginning and the end of the detour, those signs will be removed or covered so that people know to stay on the
And the
road.
class threes the big traffic control signs will get moved off,
Thank you.
so.
Yes,
As far as those detour signs up and down are concerned, why are we not considering taking those down the weekends in May and April leading up to Memorial Day?
Because of just the traffic situation, taking them down during the weekends it confuses the traffic. We have to do it to
How does
supplement.
it confuse the traffic?
it's higher level traffic in the month of June.
Well, I understand that,
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, I understand that as well, but I guess my question for you is, we still see a fair number of people visiting us from a tourism perspective on the weekends earlier in the year. These traffic signs will disrupt that flow significantly. We have concerns about that, obviously. So I guess I want to know, why exactly we're not considering taking those detour signs down if there's not going to be work going on anyways. I 100% understand and have concerns for your crews. We want them to be safe, we don't have traffic around them during work week. But if they're not out there, I don't really see any reason why those signs should be coming down earlier as well.
It's basically what we already, it's driver consistency. They were more flexible in the month of June just because of the higher tourism traffic in June. It starts ramping up after Memorial Day weekend. And that's basically the reason why. Typically, we don't take detours up and down and do that. but we're trying to be flexible considering the tourism up here in those months. And in that month of June, we considered weekends are getting pretty high, where that was worked out and communicated earlier in the design process.
And
Yeah.
once we start, you can explain that, once we start taking it down, putting it back up, then traffic's gonna increase during the week. Because people start trained, they'll get trained that
Yeah.
they can.
They think they can get through all the time then,
Get
you know?
through in the detoured area.
It's, yeah.
So we're gonna see an increase in traffic after we start doing that. So that's why we don't wanna do it too early.
And you still have to add harbor detour,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They're
a-
bound by the, kind of the same rules as this.
Yeah, they have,
Yeah.
they have to take it down in the week.
Yeah, same sort of thing, yeah.
It mirrors, once they get to, and then they have to take it down in the fall when they're trying to finish the project. Because they aren't gonna get everything done. So.
Any other questions? Yes, in the back?
I have a question, but I back what the gentleman next to me is saying too. I'm representing Peninsula Antique Center today, 7150 Highway 42. According to what I can see, we can start at the beginning with this, and I didn't read this. I want to start from the beginning and say when the detour comes up, what happens to the traffic that needs to or wants to go north on 42 or has to go north on 42?
You're north of I yet, correct?
Pardon?
You're north of I yet, correct?
I've never been able to hear you all day. I'm sorry.
I don't know if this is gonna help. You're north of I, that's the antique store north of I yet, north of the Monument Road intersection? Yeah.
It's the first one on the right.
And, yeah, okay, yeah, then, like I said, between the signs and if you have Facebook or a website or whatever, I'd just bring them and then go up. You have the right to get to your business. We just don't want you on the road where you don't have to be on the road.
Okay, so in other words, people cannot drive on 42 until Memorial Day. Is that what you're saying?
Local traffic, yeah, I mean.
Well,
What is local traffic? Tell me.
Local traffic means if you have an access point on Highway 42, the closed portion, you still have you and any of your clientele has rights to use 42 to get there. What Jeff's trying to get at, if they're paving through that location, we would strongly advise you to work with your business to find an alternate route. But if you have an access in the closed portion, that's considered local traffic. If you have an access in there to get to your driveway, that's considered local and that's legal and allowed. And the Sheriff's Department could probably confirm that. That's the way it is. Now, if the Sheriff's Department want to check, if we got a feeling that people through traffic, in other words, they don't have a destination, a closed portion, and they're just driving through because they're familiar and that's what they want to do, if they get caught, they can probably get ticketed, right? Because they're breaking the law. You got to be a local and have a destination in the closed portion.
Somebody wants a customer of the mall that's coming from out of town, there's no idea about any detours, anything else. As soon as they see the sign, they're gonna panic and go the other way or go home. But they might try to go on that road, especially on weekends. A lot of people come up on weekends.
And if they do, if their destination is in the closed portion, they can. We just advise against it. If you can do anything, if any of the businesses can do whatever you can to get them to use the shortest stretch of 42 to get to your access point by using the local road system, that would be desirable. It's gonna be safer for his crew, it's gonna be safer for the traffic in general.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of signs to get made up in a short period of time.
Yeah, I understand.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, in the back?
For the gas station that we're talking, can the customers say that we're going to the gas station and still access that road as a local traffic?
Yeah.
Well, their access is technically on County I, right?
Well, on Monument, it'd be Monument Road.
I'm sorry, Monument Point Road.
But we're building the intersection.
Technically, yeah, you gotta be careful with that, because technically your access point isn't on 42. And if you're gonna communicate, I would recommend them taking the local road system to get there. I know, it's a fine line, but that's the way the rule and the law works, so. And I'm sure there's gonna be people that cheat it and don't know that and try it anyhow, but as long as the traffic levels are low, that's our whole goal, is to keep the traffic levels low so it's a safe operation. If we see that escalating, we'll probably be communicating to Sheriff's Department or whatever to get it eased back a bit, so.
Yes, sir.
The Monument Point reconstruction starts when?
Approximately the 15th of April, when they sent.
April. How extensive is that reconstruction? Is that gonna be closed off or what?
The 2 side roads get closed based on the traffic.
Side roads?
Yeah,
I think you gotta keep it open. I think you gotta have at least one lane open.
you have to have one lane open, but
Yeah.
there's class 3s there to
Yeah,
get them
flag
to flag it,
Yeah.
so.
What lane of the highway?
They're,
Will you
we're,
go through on the highway while you're constructing that?
yeah,
Yes.
we have to maintain through traffic on the
Oh,
highway.
you do?
They gotta, yeah, on both Monument Point Road and Highway 42, they gotta keep one lane open to traffic at all times via flagging.
Yeah.
So,
Flagging.
yep.
Okay.
It's still gonna be closed, but they're just, because there's local traffic, they still have to flag it.
Yeah, we have to give Parv access, we gotta work through Parv. There might be some times where it's gonna be inconvenient to get by there, because we have to work in that intersection, but we have to try to maintain an access with them.
I'll need 3 days to get through there when I haul manure.
That would be, if you could get Keith's number and let him know when that's gonna happen.
Well, Mother Nature will tell us that.
Right, but when you get to that point, to give us a heads up, because we deal with that, especially in the fall, it becomes a big issue when you guys are taking crops off and then putting the manure back, because I can't work on that dirty road, I mean, we gotta paint it and that type of thing.
We won't make the road dirty, we just need to go through there.
Right, and that was gonna get to my second point, and the trucks, I mean, you guys are right, so it gets busy, so I mean, we deal with this especially a problem in the fall, a little bit in the spring, but it's more, so letting him know, we can try to work around it. Yeah, he's up front here, so just, like that's.
We'll stay at it as good as we can to get out of your way, but if you make me go a different direction, you're gonna add 4 to 5 miles to my trip, and tractor and tank don't work good that way.
No, and then you get on roads that the sheriff doesn't like either, so.
I'll wear my tires right off of there, so.
Yes?
We live right on that Monument Point corner, and we've got farmland across the highway. Is that gonna, taking our machinery back and forth, how's that gonna work when they're working there?
Kind of the same way. There'll be a lane open to traffic at all times, so, you can just,
Go across the highway.
you can go across the highway as well, yeah. And, just keep up on the schedule with Jeff and Keith if you have questions, and, day to day, they'll be on top of it, so.
The biggest inconvenience is gonna be that first in April when they're digging and putting the stone in, widening the road, and then putting a curb in. When I go through, other than we're paving the intersection itself, I go through, we move at, about a half mile per hour, give or take, a foot per minute, and then when we're in an intersection, it takes a couple hours to do an intersection. So it's inconvenient for a half day. Now, that's a bigger deal because they're making the drop lanes and the turning lanes for safety purposes, so there's a little bit bigger deal there, but it's still, we still have to maintain local traffic to get through, so.
Any other questions? And we'll hang out here for a few minutes in case you just want to talk one-on-one too, so. Cool, yeah.
Is everyone's information on these papers that we need to contact if we need to contact someone?
My contact information is on there as well as Keith's. And you'll start with Keith in the field, and if something needs to be elevated, he'll bring it to me and or Dan. But yeah, both mine and Keith's I got on the copies of the website that I have on there, I think on the last page, I think I have both mine and Keith's contact information on it.
When they go on the website, they have yours.
Well, yeah, I don't know the exact address. Yeah, Keith's, the field office for the project, in case you have questions for Keith, the field office is gonna be right on it's behind the gas station back in there on Monument Point Road. It'll be, it's in the apartment, yeah.
Yeah, there's an apartment, there's a
Okay.
little office and apartment building.
Yeah, so it'll be back in there somewhere.
So I gotta be nice to my landlord back there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Keith just mentioned that they'll have their meat and hunt trucks out there, the red trucks, so you'll see their emblem on the side. So if you need to flag them down, you have questions, they'll be on the job pretty much every day, so. Anything else? Okay, if not, thank you very much for attending. Appreciate it.